Well, welcome everybody to 21 Days of Empowerment. Boy, that's a mouthful. A virtual summit brought to you by the Endless Mountains Empowerment Summit for Women. Yes, this is our plan B. Our plan A was originally to have a live event, but the show must go on because empowered women are resourceful and resilient. I'm Gail Davis. I'm your host, and I am thrilled with who we have with us today. I want to thank, first of all, our supporters for making this available to all of you. And secondly, to you, our viewers, for logging in. There's a lot of surprises, so stay tuned. So today's speaker, I just met her a few weeks ago, and I'm extremely blessed by knowing her. Her name is Khieanne Dawson. She's an integrative nutrition health coach. Did I get that right, Khieanne?
Yes.
Okay. And she has a plethora of ideas and tips to stay healthy. I don't have to tell you what's going on in the world today. So Khieanne, I've asked her to come, and at the end of today's call, I'll share with you how to access. She's got 20 ways to stay well and practice self-care. We're only going to do a few today, but Khieanne, I'm going to turn it over to you, and we're going to dialogue back and forth. Share with us some tips, and I'm going to pretend I'm your viewer, and I'm going to ask you some questions if that's okay with you.
Oh, certainly. Go right ahead.
Go for it. So how do we stay healthy? How do we stay well? And most of all, how do we practice self-care?
Well, a number of things that we can do. The first one that I have on the list is, of course, proper hygiene, right? We have gotten some guidelines from the CDC about washing our hands, not touching our face, social distancing, that sort of thing. We are definitely to adhere to those to protect not just ourselves, but other people who may be vulnerable. And another thing is fresh air. Fresh air is very...
Let me interrupt for a second. So yes. We're not to touch our face. So every time I scratch my face, itch my nose, play with my hair, that's a no-no.
Well, avoid specifically putting your hands in your mouth, your nose, your eyes, that sort of thing. For sure, you want to keep your hands away because there are all kinds of dirty things that we touch and not realize it, and we could have germs on our hands, and it could get into our respiratory system through those avenues, through our nose or our mouth.
My husband was out today getting gas for the car, and he had a sanitary wipe. And that's how he held, and when he got home, he then disinfected his hands. So it's so true. It can be transmitted. So great point. Go on.
For sure. And fresh air is really important. So go outside as often as you can throughout the day. Many of us are now working remotely. So you are able to go out, take a quick break from the computer, get some fresh air, go out there, breathe deeply, and cleanse your lungs. Also, open up your windows in your house. Open up the doors. Let the air come through. Use fans, anything that can help circulate the air and get some fresh air in. Stale air can harbor lots of germs, and we don't want to have that. So freshen up the air in your house. And, just leave the doors and windows open for as long as you need to, so that when you notice that the air is fresher, then you can just shut them. It may be a little bit more on your heating bill, but it's worth it to keep you healthy.
Well, we're at the first day of spring, so hopefully warm weather is upon us. I have a great front porch, so I'm looking forward to having people come over and pay me a visit on our front porch, 6 feet away from each other, breathing fresh air. Wonderful comment, wonderful idea, great.
And so the third one is good nutrition. This is very important. Good nutrition is important to keep your body healthy as well as your mind. And so you want to cook and prepare nutrient-dense foods that nourish your body, giving your cells the tools it needs to regenerate and to do its metabolic processes. So, for example, avoid processed sugar. That's another thing. So it's not just what you're eating, but avoiding certain things as well. Avoiding processed sugar, other processed foods as much as possible, and taking in foods that serve your body well. So make sure that you're choosing your food wisely and that you're chewing well, because chewing your food is very important for your body to be able to digest the food that you're eating. And one of the things to note too is when you're making food choices, notice what it's doing to your body. If your body feels awful after you eat it, it's probably not the food that you need to be eating, okay? If your body feels good, you've got that clean, nice, light feeling after you eat, that's a good sign. So pay attention to how your body's feeling after you eat a meal, and then you can decide what things to keep in your meals and what things you want to leave out. And so
okay, I'm sorry, you were mentioning sugar prior to that, and I had heard that a teaspoon of sugar immobilizes our white blood cells, our good guys that fight those bad pathogens. And I had heard something about it was for several hours. Do you know anything about that? Do you want to address that?
Oh, that's definitely true. Scientists have shown that the processed sugar does slow down your immune system. So literally, when you're eating that sweet snack or whatever that sweet dessert is, that's just made out of white sugar. Okay, honey and maple syrup are a little different because they have other nutrients bound with them, but still use those in moderation. But when back to the processed sugar, that disables your immune system. And especially now, you want your immune system to be at peak performance. You do not want to do anything that will weaken your immune system in any way. So stay away from those sugars. If you want a sweet treat, there are other things that you can do. For example, like I mentioned, you can use honey to make your sweet treats and maple syrup, things like those. And do it in moderation. Don't overdo it, because even though they are healthier sugars, they're still sugar nonetheless. So balance that out and keep it to a minimum. And another thing to incorporate is raw garlic. Raw garlic is very, very, very important because it has antiviral, antifungal, and antibacterial properties. And eating it raw is where you will get most of those benefits. When you cook it, you still get the nutrient value in some, but it's to a minimum. So make sure that you're including those. That's very important. And research shows that that is very helpful as well.
So it sounds like, especially since we're practicing social distancing, we don't have to worry about smelling like garlic.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
So it's a perfect time to practice it. This sounds great. So give us some more cooking tips or suggestions. I'm loving this.
Yes, definitely. We, one of the things that I do in my business for my clients is I teach them how to cook and prepare healthy foods, specifically nutrient-dense plant-based foods. And incorporating lots of vegetables is also important, and lots of fresh fruit. Now, with the vegetables and the fruit, you're getting lots of fiber with that. Fiber is good to trap toxins and remove it from your body. And it helps to keep you regular too. When your body builds up a lot of waste, that also weakens your immune system. And scientists have shown that 70% of your immune system is in your gut. So making sure that your gut is healthy is top priority.
So in other words, you better have some bowel movements to make it healthy.
That's right. That's right. Keep things moving smoothly.
Keep things moving smoothly. I like that. I like that. Okay. So tell us more about what are your favorite foods to go to, especially during times of stress. So for me, when I was growing up, my mom used to give me ice cream all the time. Well, that's a no-no because number one, it has the sugar in it, it's processed, and God knows if it really has any calcium, and we won't even go there. What can moms be giving their kids or eating themselves when they do have a sweet tooth or when they're craving different things?
Yes, so you can make a mixture of different things like almond butter, peanut butter, some honey. You can put in some carob powder. Carob is a very good nutrient as well. It has lots of vitamins and minerals in it. And that you can mix that all together with some chopped dates okay? Mix that all together and it forms a thick paste. So you could spread it out in a 9x9 pan and it makes these cute little fudge squares and you cut them in squares. So one of the recipes that I've done in my cooking classes is a date nutty butter fudge. And that's
Ooh.
a nice that people can have. And you could sprinkle some coconut, shredded coconut on top.
Mm-hmm.
And you get a nice tasty treat, and it's sweet, but it's very healthy. And the carob in it actually helps to minimize you overeating. You really only need a small piece to get that satiated feeling of I got enough. Whereas there are other foods that you just keep eating and eating and eating, and you don't have that stop mechanism saying I've had enough. And that's the problem with a lot of processed foods. So when you're eating whole foods like this, even with a sweet treat, you get a small piece and you feel good. I'm like, oh, you feel like you've had enough and you got the sweet treat that you were looking for.
Well, it's funny you say that because one of my go-tos is I love to cut up apple slices and dip it into organic peanut butter or almond butter. And it is delicious.
Yes.
Yes. And a lot healthier than ice cream.
Yes, for sure. And another nice sweet treat, especially for kids, what you can do is cut an apple top down, core each side, lather it with peanut butter. This is the natural peanut butter that has the oil that's gets on the top.
So it's the peanut butter that our husbands don't want to buy because it's separated and it looks gross, but it's the healthier one. Okay.
Yeah. Have to stir it, yes. But here's the good thing about that, right? When you stir it, you're getting some good muscles from doing the stirring. So you get a little exercise. So I like to look at it as in a positive way. It's a little extra work, but guess what? It gets your muscles engaged and keeps you fit. So you stir that peanut butter, right? Get it all mixed in, the oil mixed in with the rest of it. There's no need to pour that oil off. You lather the peanut butter on the apple half and then put some raisins on top. Delicious. Something as simple as that. Very delicious. And I'll tell you, don't mind getting a little bit of peanut butter on your fingers. You just have to, make sure you have clean hands beforehand so you can lick your fingers.
Well, we're all going to have lots of clean hands right now because we're told to wash how many times a day, right?
Yes, that's right.
Right. Oh, this is great. Any other tips with fruits and vegetables? Because that's one of your pointers to really chew well and include lots of fruits and vegetables. You know what? Why don't you talk about your favorite veggie? Because I know you probably have some veggies on your plate that we don't even know what they are.
Oh, I love lots of different vegetables. And one that I really, really love that I find to be so succulent is asparagus. And there are all different ways that you can make it. One of my favorite ways is to put it in a pan, whole, just make sure you cut the ends off that are dried out and put the whole asparagus in a skillet with a little water and some either fresh basil leaves or frozen basil leaves. I like using the fresh frozen. I grow them in my garden, so I freeze a lot of it. So I use those leaves. I add it to it and sprinkle a little bit of Bragg's liquid aminos on top and a little olive oil and just let it steam until it gets nice and bright and just enough that it's steamed and cooked, not overdone. You don't want it overdone. You just want it to be nice and crisp and succulent. And just stir it around to make sure that all the flavor gets in. And voila, very good. Tasty.
Khieanne, it sounds delicious. My husband doesn't like asparagus. That's his problem. I'll eat it all. But talk to us about what is Bragg's liquid aminos. I know that might be a new word to some on today's viewing.
Yes, Bragg's liquid aminos is a product. It's from soy, it's derived from soy, and it's a soy sauce replacement. And it has lots of different amino acids, and amino acids are the building blocks of proteins. And so it's a nice flavoring, and it tastes a little salty. So beware, don't put too much in there. Okay, so taste it and see how much you like, and depending on how many asparagus spears you have in your skillet, you'd want to put a certain amount in there. So that's a nice treat that I like. I literally will pick up the asparagus and just bite it just like that. It's such a delicious dish.
Sounds great. You're making me hungry. But I know you have a few other things on this sheet that you wanted to go over, so go for it.
Yeah, so another thing that's important is exercising and getting sunshine, okay? And it's good you can do both of them together, especially now that many people are not able to go to an office and you will need to be working from home. You can take a quick break, on your break time, go outside, get some fresh air, get some sunshine, and get some exercise. Go for a walk around the block. And even if you're going to do it in your yard, you can do stretches, you can do lunges, you can do different things, to keep your body fit. So when you're exercising, your body is able to get rid of waste that way as well. It comes out through your skin, through your lungs, and as you're sweating, that's how it comes out through the skin. So do everything that you can to keep all of your faculties in peak performance. And the sunshine helps your mood also. There's a lot of negativity right now and feeling of anxiety. And that sunshine really helps to keep you calm. So that's another thing that I find to be very beneficial.
Well, I'm also thinking of the vitamin D in the sunshine. And
Correct.
granted, we are going into spring now, so we don't necessarily have to worry as much about seasonal affective disorder, but it's a real thing when you don't have the vitamin D.
Definitely. Yeah, so that's definitely something to make a daily habit of. Schedule it into your day, because for me, if I don't schedule things like that, it won't happen. So schedule it into your day with all the other appointments and things that you have going on, and it'll happen. Just be intentional.
Thank you. And I think we have time for one more. So give us one more to go out with a bang with.
Yes. One thing that I find to be very, very uplifting is singing. And I do this regularly. And I would say for you, if you don't sing, maybe you could play an instrument or listening to uplifting music. Having a song in your heart is so soothing and calming, and it keeps anxiety at bay, and it minimizes stress. Right now, a lot of us are feeling stressed because of what's going on in the world around us. There's a lot of uncertainty, and anything that we can do to improve that makes a huge difference. So personally, one of the things that helps keep that anxiety at bay and keeping a song in my heart is I trust God to help me through this. And with that, I sing praises to him as well, which encourages me to keep moving forward, encourages me to be brave, to be courageous, and to keep my eyes focused on the things I can control and leave the rest alone.
It's interesting you say that, because I was texting this morning to my best friend who's a doctor in New Jersey, and she's my roommate from college. She was also my maid of honor at my wedding. We haven't really kept in contact as much as I would have liked, but we're texting back and forth. And sadly, it was her hospital that had some of the most recent deaths from the COVID-19. But I said to her, I think when this is all said and done and over with, I think the synagogues, the churches, the houses of worship are going to be filled. And I agree with you wholeheartedly, to be singing praises and gratitude. And I have Alexa. I don't know if you know what an Alexa is. It's a little device in my kitchen. So every morning when I get up, instead of saying, Alexa, play the news, you don't want to hear that, I say, Alexa, play some inspirational praise music. And it really sets my day. So I echo what you're about to say. So, Khieanne, you've given us so many great tips, but something I neglected to ask, and I think a lot of our viewers may be wondering, how did someone like you get involved with nutrition? You look so healthy, so well, so vibrant, so young. How on earth did you decide to follow this path? Do you want to just briefly share with your story? Because I think it would be an encouragement to our viewers.
Yes. Over see now, it's been 24 years that not 24, pardon me, 23 years now that I decided to go on this journey. I had rheumatic fever when I was 12 years old. I got diagnosed when I was 12, and they told me that I would have to take penicillin shots or antibiotics once a month for the rest of my life, because they were concerned that the rheumatic fever would affect my heart valves and cause damage. So I did, my mom did what they requested, and I went on for years, once a month, getting a penicillin shot. And when I was about 18, between 18 and 19 years old, I decided that I wanted to do something different, because I didn't notice a difference in my life at the time. And so I said, as I was learning more about eating healthier and improving my lifestyle by making better choices, I realized that there were some good things I could do. So I started eating more vegetables, and I completely went plant-based, and that made a huge difference for me. I dropped 10 pounds of water weight in 2 months. My heart murmur went away. That was there before. I had that edema from the rheumatic fever, and a lot of swollen tissues. My hands and feet specifically would swell and just be very puffy. Mm-hmm. And so I noticed a difference relatively quickly. And from then on, I decided to be mostly plant-based. And I have had some dairy and meat, here and there, but most of the time I am plant-based. And I noticed that I've gotten years added to my life. I literally feel more vibrant than I was before, not as bogged down, and it's made a huge difference. So for those who don't know me, I'm going to be 42 this year, and I have 2 kids in college and 1 in high school. So my oldest one is 21, and then my middle child, she's 19, and I have a 17-year-old. And they are grown, healthy, strong, and when they were younger, that's what I raised them on, and they are doing pretty well.
Well, Khieanne, this has been such a thrill having you. And as I've shared with you on a previous time, no, you do not look your age. I just wonder if your son, your 19-year-old, has ever been out with you and people have thought that you are his girlfriend, because that's how young you look. So
well,
I think this has been great.
Is my daughter. My daughter's 19, but my older son, that's 21.
Okay,
when we
21.
are all together, they do think we're siblings, because I am the shortest out of the bunch.
Oh, that's great. So a viewer may be wondering how to get a hold of you. Well, basically below the upload that we're creating will be this sheet, a front and back, that has all your information, ways to stay healthy with all your contact. So Khieanne, I really thank you for being a part of the Endless Mountains Empowerment Summit for Women, though it wasn't on site as it was planned. It's gone virtual, and maybe it'll even go viral. So thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.